lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and today's going to be a little bit of a quick one. I've already talked about this particular arc on the channel, which is the beginning of Walt Simonson's run, but I had to talk about this one. Thor, issue 337, the debut of one of my favorite characters, Beta Ray Bill. Before I get into it, I just want to remind everybody, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And hit that bell icon also so you're notified every time new vids drop. We're dropping videos daily, whether it's interviews, indie creator spotlights, dives into single issues, going through trades, hardcovers, artist editions, we got it all. Hit that subscribe button and check out the rest of the awesome stuff on the channel. And now, let's get into this issue of Thor. Like I said, Walt Simonson, beginning of his run, a few issues back, debuts this, first of all, this striking cover. I can't imagine picking this up off the stands. 1983, this comic book came out. You're picking up an issue of Thor. The corner box is destroyed. The logo is destroyed. And who? By who? This mysterious character holding none other than Mjolnir itself, the hammer of Thor. And he's wearing Thor's costume. Like, it's insane. I can't even imagine picking up this issue and wondering, like, where's Thor? And just, this cover's been homaged so many times. Even Walt, I think, has homaged his own cover with this. But one of my favorite covers of his Thor run, and again, one of my favorite characters. And when I say that, it's not hyperbole. That is me saying I love this character. Anytime he makes an appearance, Daniel Warren Johnson did a fantastic miniseries about a year and a half, 2 years ago that I can't recommend enough. We already did a episode, Dylan and I, we went through the first arc, the first collection of Simonson's Thor, but I wanted to just flip through this, wanted to get that, that crisp newsprint in my hand and just show it off. And again, I think that much like what I said on the videos with Simonson's Orion run, it's interesting that, Kirby had this epic Thor run, right? And then the Fourth World with New Gods and Mr. Miracle and all that stuff. And it's cool that Simonson kind of followed along with that stuff, right? Like, he did an epic run on Thor. In my opinion, that Orion run from beginning to end, no faltering, epic. And he just has like this poetic nature to his writing, and it's just amazing. And then you pair that with this like exciting art and explosive crackling with energy, completely emulating the Kirby crackle energy that Kirby would bring to his comics. Look at this. It's beautiful. I love seeing it on this newsprint. The colors they pop different. They're not the same when they get reprinted in these collections now, where they're printed on this stark white paper. They just, the colors were done with the newsprint in mind. So, like, the way the ink would, be saturated into the paper. So, like, when you reprint it, it just... Marvel, there's got to be a better way. When you're doing these facsimiles, which I buy a lot of them, there's got to be a better way to reproduce these colors. But I love this, Mark well this figure and listen, can you hear it? The wind is rising. The sound of thunder reverberates throughout a billion worlds. Doom! It's fucking so good, so good. And then we, flash back to Earth. We got Donald Blake, because this is the form that Thor took at this moment in time. He was a doctor. He's got the cane. The cane is really Mjolnir, the hammer. And he's just walking through and admiring man and just, their day-to-day and, how he's seen things no mortal has ever dreamed of. Despite all the responsibilities, it is no bad thing to be the son of Lord Odin. And then he thinks he's attacked, and it's really just a stray frisbee that hits him in the back. And what happens while he's walking through? Somebody stops him. Let me take your cane. Get in the car. And he gets thrown in. He has no idea what's going on. And it's none other than Nick Fury. And Nick Fury is calling upon Donald Blake because he knows he's Thor. And he needs his help. There's an emergency, one they've never seen before. And only one guy that can handle it. And that's you. Let's get that hammer out, right? And in the middle of it, they're in the car. And he hits the... Donald Blake's like, how did you even know? And he's like, it's my job to know. And so he transforms into Thor while we're in there. We get this awesome shot of, I love this, of the helicarrier. As we get in, we're going to get the lowdown on why exactly he was called upon. And I love the buildup. They're talking about They sent this probe out. They're getting these pictures that they've received from this probe that they've stuck out in that they've sent out into space, and they don't understand what's happening. It's this energy that they've never seen before, and it's heading straight for their solar system. And we get this like great shadow of Thor and Nick Fury that I love. And he's like, "Will you help us?" And then we get the answer off panel, and Thor in this epic pose just flies. Again, Simonson's art is just some of the best Thor's ever looked, and the entire title and the cast of characters, the way he Heimdall, we get Sif, we get Balder, we get this entire cast of Asgardians, and each one of them is just written so well. And Sif, her soul's empty without Thor and doesn't understand, and Balder's like, Balder the Brave is a myth I have outlived, right? Like, just crazy. Thor flying into space, going to inspect what's happening. We see this weird ship coming up. So Thor, obviously, what's he gonna do? He wants to break in. He sees these bolts of energy hitting him, so he lets the hammer speak for itself, and he climbs in, and we see this hand just grip Thor's head, and then we flash back to another one. I like that, how we, with this large cast of characters in this large world, like, we'll end on this like really crazy scene, and then we jump to something else. Where do we go? None other to Loki himself. He's bored, monotonous exile. Why should he, Prince of Darkness, waste his time in monotonous exile while cheer and good fellowship abound in the land? And somebody's coming close to his abode, and he is going to go out and inspect what this is. And it's some beautiful woman. She's walking up. We see all these other people coming near. It's Lorelei, who falls in love with Thor and will play a part throughout this run. Loki takes her back, and he's going to also use her against Thor. And then we get Bill. We get Beta Ray Bill in the mix. He introduces himself, calls Thor a demon. You have pursued me only to find death, and when I am through with you, you will welcome it. I am called Bill. Beta Ray Bill. Epic dialogue, epic action. This fight between the two of them is amazing. And Scuttlebutt, his ship, has told him, he's like, "Oh, you're much stronger than your predecessors. Your barbarous language, and relayed it to me through my crystal chamber. Scuttlebutt has deciphered your barbarous language and relayed it to me through my crystal chamber. Thus I shall engrave your epitaph in your own tongue on my new world." I mean, it's just insane. Boom, and you can just feel the energy of each punch. And right as Thor, throws another punch, his hammer is lost to him. What happens? Bill ends up picking up the hammer, not knowing what it is. He knows that the hammer's powerful, and he thinks it might be the only thing to save his mission. So he grabs the stick. He's like, "It vanished. What happened?" Thunder and lightning. And then he smacks it against there, and he gets the power, and he sees that it's the stick was the hammer, and that's where the power comes from. Power enough to shake this planet to its foundations. And Nick Fury and the crew, they're in space too. They're coming to investigate what's going on. And what happens is Beta Ray Bill's going to take this hammer, and he's going to get the hell out of here. While all this is happening and he's fighting against them, Odin calls upon Thor and says, "Asgard is in need of thee." And he calls him home, not realizing that he's really calling Beta Ray Bill back. And Thor, now in his Donald Blake form, is stuck. And Nick Fury is going to save him and take him away. And we get this amazing panel of him screaming out, "Father." The lashing storm does not listen, and only the wind and rain reply. And next month will be A Fool and His Hammer. So awesome. Such a great issue. I mean, just one of the best of the run. It goes on to be like one of the most epic runs in comics. I haven't read it in completion. I'm trying to think, at least like the first 2 or 3 volumes in trade, but it's definitely something that I probably just want to get them all in single issues. This was obviously, I think, one of the more expensive issues in the run because it is the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill, but super dope. If you haven't read it, you're missing out on some great comics. This is a great era for Marvel, the 80s. It's something I'm seeking out because, this came out before I was born, but you can't go wrong with Walt Simonson Thor. You can't go wrong with Walt Simonson, but his Thor run, amazing. Check out the Orion video I did, also going through issue 1, issue 5 of that run. There is an episode going through the trade of the beginning of Walt Simonson's Thor, so check that out as well. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, I'm out.